Hi and welcome to our Vendor Hardtalk, and today it's with Netwrix, and we have a very, very special guest with us today. We have Mr. Grady Summers, the CEO of Netwrix, and also back on our couch here we have Terry Burgess from Netwrix as well. He's the VP of Asia Pac, APJ? APJ, so I got it right today. So VP of APJ, and of course, flying in all the way from the US, we have Mr. Grady Summers. Welcome to the show, Grady.
Hey, thanks. So great to be here.
Great. So Grady, before I say so much about you or ask you a lot of questions, I think you've got a great background to talk about. So maybe you can tell us a bit more about yourself and tell our audience a bit more about Grady Summers.
Well, no, thanks for the opportunity. So I'm relatively new here at Netwrix. I've just been here, under 6 months now, but have spent about 25 years in various parts of cybersecurity. Really spanning back to the enterprise. I spent a lot of time in enterprise security back at General Electric early in my career, and then ended up as the global CISO of GE. So still about half my career is in enterprise cybersecurity. Right. And then, got the good fortune to go work at Ernst & Young for a little while, go to Mandiant, which became FireEye, and then spend about 4.5 years at SailPoint, growing out the offering there.
Right. So you've moved from a product role at SailPoint to a CEO role. How does that feel? What is the difference?
Yeah, I mean, obviously very different having a CEO role as compared to a product role. Right. But I would say I think my product experience, as well as my enterprise experience. I mentioned I was a CISO at General Electric, where I was a big buyer of security products. I had to implement security products that were out on the market. I think that, with my product experience, gives me a lot of empathy for what our customers are going through, right?
Oh, that's great. That's great. So, I'm not going to say how old you are, but in many, many years in product, technology, and now business leadership roles, can you share some pivotal moments that, because you've got, like you just said, you've got an extensive experience from enterprise as the buyer, as the customer, as the creator. What do you think, that leads you to this CEO of Netwrix role? Because Netwrix is not a small organization; it's a big organization. You've got a great big team, I would say. But what are the turning points that led you here?
It's an interesting question. If I think back, I mentioned being in enterprise security, for example. The first almost 15 years of my career, I was a user of enterprise security products, and I think when you talk about turning points, that was one where I know what it's like to be a customer who's trying to make sense of some of the vendor BS out there in the market. And so here at Netwrix, we try to be really straight shooters. We try to bring a lot of transparency. We put the customer first, because I know what it's like being at the other end of that. I would say, later in my career, the opportunity to be at a company like Mandiant. You might remember Mandiant was known for being on really the front lines of cyber espionage and
Mandiant before FireEye, before it became Mandiant.
Yeah, that's right. Back in the day, Mandiant responded to, as our CEO Kevin Mandia used to say, every breach that matters. Mandiant would respond to, and there's where I saw the linkage between identity and really the front lines, what the threat actors were doing. And ultimately, every intrusion, every bit of cyber espionage was fundamentally an identity problem, which brings us to where we are today at Netwrix. And I know we'll talk some more about this, but that nexus of identity and data security, I think, is a really special place.
Perfect. It makes a lot of sense why you're ending up at Netwrix. But, Netwrix has gone and acquired a lot of companies in the last 6 years. So what motivated you to take on this role at Netwrix at this particular juncture in your career, where you've come from a product angle and Netwrix has just bought all these different solutions and trying to make it as one Netwrix product, bring the best of all of them together. What motivated you to make this switch here? Because it's not going to be an easy task.
No, it's not easy, but I'm here because I'm so excited about the future at Netwrix. In fact, Terry and I were just talking about on the car ride over here. We have a genuine enthusiasm for what the company is and what it can be. And that is, you mentioned all these acquisitions. It's remarkable how well positioned we are to have this broad spectrum of capabilities all around data and identity security. And so when you ask what motivated me to be here, it's seeing the opportunity. It's certainly a lot of work bringing all that together, but we have really fantastic people here. We have really great products. We have great partners like yourself and Halodata. And so, there's so much so much future opportunity. Would you agree, Terry?
Yeah, that's true. And to Grady's point, what brought me here is
because you're new yourself.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I really like and I feel privileged that Netwrix doesn't just look at a band-aid fix, it looks at the long term. And I think that's really important with those acquisitions that you mentioned. Hey, there's some areas that we need to address further, but it's not a short-term fix, it's a long-term game, which I really like, and that's why I'm here.
You know, you lead me on to my next question. So I think Grady, as the new CEO, right, what do you think is the strategic vision that you're changing for Netwrix? That, you know, like, where do you see Netwrix in 5 years' time, and what are the key initiatives that you're bringing to the table to ensure we get there?
Yeah, so we think about what is Netwrix fundamentally, and we think we are in a unique position to bring a broad set of data and identity capabilities to every company. And we talk about that as a leadership team. We say every company, and we mean something by that, which is we think there's a really huge part of the mid-market that has been underserved by cybersecurity products in the past. And I've always been struck by this concept of the cybersecurity poverty line. I don't know if you've heard of this concept, which is, it's unfortunate. I mean, I had the very good fortune to be the CISO of at the time, a Fortune 5 company, right? That spent hundreds of millions of dollars on security. And those types of companies can have the best security that's out there in the market. But what we're excited about at Netwrix is being able to bring, really first-class capabilities to the mid-market broadly. So that's a big part of our vision, is making sure that all these products you referred to work together well, that they're available whether it's on-premise or the cloud. We give customers that flexibility of deployment options, and bringing real just top-tier enterprise class capability to every company in the world. So where are we going? Look, we think we should be able to double or triple the size of the company over the next several years, because we've got the right products, the right people, and I'm not just saying this because we're sitting here, but really the right partners to make it happen.
Rashan, I'll just add something into Grady's point. Then he mentioned identity before, and identity and data go hand in hand, front door, back door. Okay, so it's really important. That same problem exists whether it's enterprise or mid-level market. So we're in a great position to help the mid-market on solving that solution.
So where do you see, I mean, since Terry on a question, Grady has given us the vision for the next 5 years as Netwrix. You've newly come into your role. I know in the last episode I asked you something, but now what's your key initiative? Where do you see APAC, or APJ in 5 years?
Yeah, so Grady touched on it too, and I can see the technology and the marketplace evolving, but on-prem and cloud is really interesting. So there's some countries that still have data sovereignty issues, so it'll be on-prem first. But there's a lot of countries in Asia that have an appetite for cloud. So I think there'll be more and more cloud over the next couple of years. And I also think if you look at the regions in Asia, there's some purple patches, right? There's areas that are punching above their weight, both on economic situations as well as infrastructure and all these great areas. That's where we want to be targeting as well.
Sure. And when we talk about these acquisitions, Netwrix has grown its product portfolio from one main product to now maybe even 15 or more products, right? And you mentioned about bringing them together and making Netwrix like a company that has a lot of capabilities. I think you've been using this word a lot in our communication. So one thing I as a partner or I as a customer of Netwrix has realized is we've brought in all these capabilities that come together, and I'm sure every product had its trajectory of growth and stuff like that. So how do you plan to, not only bring these together and create a growth path for the company, but actually, still, innovate and lead the market, because you're bringing a lot of different knowledge from the different acquisitions, a lot of different ideas. And how do you plan to, unite them and bring them forward in the trajectory? I'm not stealing any announcements away, but you can give something away, some teasers.
Oh, okay. I'll definitely do that. So look, we're fortunate to have acquired so many companies over the last several years. And one thing I tell our teams when I go out and talk to them is there's no one single best way. We're not going to do everything the Netwrix traditional way. We're going to take the best from all these acquisitions.
Right.
And so we've seen things, whether it's, how do we create digital campaigns in Eastern Europe that we can pick up from one of our companies, or it's, hey, how do we bring a new capability to privilege access management we pick up from another acquisition. So I think that's one thing I stress is we are getting the best of all this awesome innovation. We know that in our industry, so much innovation happens in those startups, right? And so when we can bring so many of them into the fold, it really helps empower us. It helps supercharge our innovation. Beyond that, I would say we're really fortunate to have a board that's investing quite a bit in R&D. So we have substantial increase in investment in R&D last year. Our board, and really I can say our leadership team from the top to the bottom, knows the importance of investing in R&D to drive innovation because this industry is all about innovation. What's new? What's next? And then I think another big piece I would mention here is addition by subtraction. You mentioned we have 15 products now. That's frankly too much, I think, for our customers, for our partners, for our own employees to get their arms around. So we think it's far more powerful to take all this, you mentioned capability, that's a term we talk about a lot, take these great capabilities, but offer them in fewer packages. And so we're really excited about the way we'll be going to market for the rest of this year, which is boiling everything down and having offerings around things like identity governance, privilege access management, DSPM, ITDR, and endpoint security. And we end up with 6 really powerful sets of capabilities to take out to customers, which I should add brings a tremendous amount of value to our customers. We're not, as I say in the industry, sometimes nickel and diming customers saying, well, you want a new connector, that's going to cost extra. We're excited to talk to the market about how we're pulling a ton of capability into a single offering.
Right. So, you talk about all these about products and putting them into packages and stuff.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, being a CEO myself, at the end of the day, it's all about performance, right? Yeah. It's all about numbers. Now, how do you plan to expand the sales part of the organization across many countries? I'm sure, we'll talk about Asia more in detail later, but in general, how do you feel we can expand, Netwrix reach around the world? And because it's got great product set, it's got great insight. How do we end up growing this business?
Yeah, look, the only way we can get the kind of global reach we need is through our partners. And so this year we're making some really big changes in how we approach our partner network. Traditionally, we've been a little bit hit or miss, to be honest, on partner fulfillment. And starting here in a couple months, when we kick into kind of a new year of planning for us, everything goes through partners. And so we will make sure everything's fulfilled through partners. We expect that our partners are bringing more opportunities to our front door, but we want to give more back as well. So I say that, again, really not because we're sitting here on stage talking with you as a partner, but we know that that's the only way we can get a global reach for a company our size.
Great. So now I have one question that really burns me. I'm in the ASEAN market. I'm here in Asia Pacific. We've seen, Terry join the team, the APAC team, and, really I can see the commitment. You're here today in Singapore. Yeah. We've got the whole other team members here in Singapore. It's a great commitment. So you've identified APJ as a strategic region of growth for cybersecurity, for Netwrix. What makes you think that? Yeah. And how do you think, Netwrix is going to rock Asia?
Yeah, maybe I'll start with why I think we're making this bet, and then you can talk about how we're going to fulfill it. But I've been, with cybersecurity companies visiting the Asia Pacific market for a long time, multiple times a year, probably for the past 10, 15 years. And so I wouldn't say I'm an expert in the market like the two of you are, but I've gotten to know the market pretty well. And what I see is Netwrix products are a perfect, right down the middle, perfect fit for the region. This is a region where there are abundance of mid-market. We serve mid-market to larger companies, but typically not the very, very large enterprise. There's a lot of companies that fit that profile. I think the maturity of a lot of the companies, the customers in this market, are starting to look for innovative solutions like Netwrix. And then I think also our flexibility to deploy essentially the same code base and take it as SaaS or take it as on-premise, that flexibility I think suits this market really well, where you have some regions that are very cloud forward, and other regions who are, data sovereignty is a key factor in their buying decision. So it's the right products, I think, that fit the maturity of the market, available the way that the market wants it. So.
Yeah, and I'll just add in, I like what Grady mentioned about the on-premise and the cloud. I think that's a really key thing, same code set, right? But there's also maturity in the compliancy and the cybersecurity regulations in the region as well. So maybe 5 years ago it was, hey, they were just starting out, what is governance? Now there's a couple of iterations of these cybersecurity laws and data privacy acts, etc. So there's a higher maturity level in the region. It varies on country to country, but that'll be a catalyst on why the market will do so well down here.
Right. And it's interesting you talked about channel partners and as well. With all these acquisitions, you've also inherited a very good channel partner network. Yeah. And and you talk about changing your strategy and how you treat partners and how you're going to flow through partners. Any insights you want to add to that, to maybe all our channel partners?
Yeah, for sure. You're right. First of all, we're fortunate with these acquisitions. It's every acquisition we kind of picked up a different distributor or a reseller. And example, we were talking a little bit earlier about some of our DLP, or we call our endpoint protector resellers and distributors. A good example, right, of ones we could pick up. We've done our best to snap them into the network where we can. As to what's to come, we're investing a lot in our channel program. And so whether it's building out new CAMs globally, or providing just a lot more technical assistance. In fact, we were fortunate to be in a meeting earlier where we shared with Halodata some of the new technical resources we have in the market. Bottom line is we're investing a lot. We're substantially, in real dollar amounts, increasing what we have both in resources and people on the ground here to help our resellers in the region.
Now I'm gonna make you switch hats for a while.
Oh, okay.
Because you come from, like you said, customer and product and now CEO. Yeah. Where do you think cybersecurity is heading? And a follow on to that will be, where do you think AI is pushing cybersecurity to?
Yeah, well, where is cybersecurity heading? You can't answer that question, of course, without talking about AI, and we see it everywhere. Every customer we talk to, of course, has concerns. One way that we try to address this at Netwrix is that we can help secure data through the use of AI, but also we can secure data that is being used by AI. And those are two different things. Right. Our products, our DSPM products, can help customers understand, hey, if I let an LLM ingest these folders or these directories or these network devices, what's that data that's in there? Am I giving the LLM access to healthcare data, for example, or sensitive financial data? So that's helping protect our customers' use of data by LLMs. But then we also use AI in our products. And so at RSA here in a few weeks, we'll be unveiling our new AI-generated response mechanisms, which is an amazing way. I mean, we're taking light years leap ahead from telling a customer about a problem, and it's sort of we're skipping these iterative stages of making recommendations on what to do or how to do it, and we're saying, would you like us to generate code to resolve this problem you have, and would you like to deploy it with one click? So AI, in that example, both a risk for our customers that we can help them address, but also a huge benefit to help them remediate.
And do you think the threat landscape has changed for customers?
For sure. Yeah, I mean, look, AI, the threat landscape is always changing. We used to always say that whenever we give a threat briefing, this is the one every year we say, the threat landscape is all new this year. It is always changing. I feel like AI has put that in overdrive, the ability for attackers. I mean, we used to say, hey, somebody is trying to phish you, the language, sometimes the language will be kind of broken or not very well. Using it, the most simple examples, an LLM can make any phishing note sound like any tone of voice, right? Simple stuff like that. I mean, attacks get much more sophisticated, but then we see using AI to do reconnaissance and profiling of a potential victim, right? Or find ways to exploit it, or recommend exploit packages that can be used. It's just everything is in overdrive now.
Yeah, definitely deep fakes is a worry for a lot of customers out there. Hey, Rushan, one question you asked Grady before, I was just thinking about, with all the acquisitions too, one of the things that we're looking at doing this year is making sure that customers are fully aware of the portfolio. So no selling here, but there's been a lot of acquisitions where customers and partners have been really strong in one field only. So there's an opportunity now for those customers to go, oh, look what else Netwrix does, and to feed that in. That'll be nirvana for us as well.
You lead me in perfectly into my next question. So my next question that I have here is, we've talked about partners, we've talked about security technology, we've talked about Netwrix.
Yeah.
But what about end user customers? How do you plan to A, give them value,
Yeah.
B, be their cybersecurity partner in their journey, right?
Yeah.
And because I've had this conversation with you offline, and I think we need to talk about it a bit more. And at the end of the day, the solutions that we provide as Netwrix, how do they align, or how because there's a lot of market BS, as you call it, that talks about, oh, I am great at this, I am great at that, buy my solution, and you'll be the best, most secured company tomorrow. How do you think Netwrix, with you on board, with Terry on board, and the rest of the team, are going to change how the end customers feel about Netwrix and the value it provides?
Well, Paul, I could talk about this quite a bit, but I'll say a few things, and Terry, you can jump in. But I think it fundamentally starts with what kind of company are we? And maybe that sounds a little bit soft at first, but I've been here just under 6 months. We recently rolled out a whole new set of Netwrix values that we take very seriously. We believe that values aren't just posters you put on the wall, but they're in the decisions you make all the time. And gosh, as we talk about decisions on how we're going to grow the region, I think these values always loom large. They're things like absolutely relentless focus on our customers. And it might sound obvious, but we're doing some things we haven't done in the past. We're starting customer advisory boards and partner advisory boards this year. I've been on a listening tour talking to customers. I'm pushing our product managers to be out speaking with customers every single week. We're investing more in our customer success resources, more than we ever have before. We started a new community that we launched a couple of months ago so we can better interact with our customers. So customers always come first. And we do it with a real sense of expertise and excellence. And those might sound like the same thing, but excellence is always raising the bar, is moving quickly to innovate for our customers. And the expertise is, I've been amazed at Netwrix. I meet some of the smartest people in the industry.
No, I agree.
But people don't always know it, right? And I mean, if you say, where are the best Active Directory experts in the world? Where are the best people at group policy? Where are the best at data security and understanding who has access to what in the space of data governance? I'm blown away by the expertise of our team here, and I keep encouraging them, whether it's through blogging or directly interacting with customers or getting out on podcasts like this. I know you had our product manager for PAM was on a couple weeks ago. It's getting out and sharing with the world what we can do so that our customers can benefit from all that expertise.
Yeah, I just want to add something there. Grady hits on it, and to me as a newcomer inside the company too, we really value just listening to the customer, and we won't talk about 50 things that we want to do. We'll just narrow in, laser-like on these are the 4 problems the customer has. Yes, we can solve those, or no, we can't. Okay, most of the time it's a yes, but I really think that listening to the customer is a big thing. And I've seen other vendors exaggerate sometimes, but that's something we're not doing.
You take all this and how do you manifest it? Don't exaggerate, high integrity, tell the customer what you're going to do and actually deliver it on time. And I think, if I could circle back around and mention the new way we'll be selling with our 6 core solution areas, our goal with that, I can tell you, is to deliver the most value we can for a customer. And not like a cheesy way, people say, everyone says they want to bring value to a customer. But I hate the FUD, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that so many in the industry sell with. I have a deep belief that it's possible to make the money you need to make to stay in business as a company, as a partner, but also deliver tremendous value to a customer. And I hate the idea of always going back and telling a customer, oh no, if you want to use this capability, you need to issue us another PO. So I think our customers are going to be really, really pleased with how much value they get from Netwrix.
Which is interesting. You mentioned, we have 15 products. Now you talk about 6 core capabilities. Today, if I am a Netwrix customer, how would the experience be, to gather these new technologies or these capabilities that you're putting together, in terms of, the seamlessness of integration, the seamlessness of working with or enabling myself as an organization to onboard other Netwrix products because I'm a customer of one?
Yeah. That's an interesting question because it's an evolving thing, right? When we launch just next month, we'll be launching these new solution areas, these new 6 sets of capabilities. Look, again, I'll be transparent, right?
Yeah.
No BS is they're going to be sort of separate products put together under one umbrella to sell. The good news, we bring a ton of value to the customer right away, but it's going to get better over time in terms of putting it all under one
It's a
umbrella.
journey, right? Because I think you've gone on these acquisitions. You don't want to wait for customers to get the value. We want to give as much value
it right
as we
away.
can up front, and then make it more integrated as we go along.
You got it. And to that point, Rashawn, you're exactly right. We've challenged every one of our product managers when we do our regular reviews is how are you going to integrate with the other products? How are you going to pull this thing into unified dashboards, unified reporting? We're really excited. Here in a couple of quarters, we'll have our new workflow capability out that will weave together all of our products' capabilities. So you could get a threat popping over here in the ITDR that might go change the permissions for a file in our DSPM product that might then go ahead and send a signal down to the endpoint to temporarily quarantine a user, and it's all drag and drop.
Right, and earlier on you mentioned that in a few weeks in RSA you're going to launch something. RSA is this, I'll be there too. RSA is this global conference where the world comes together and talk cybersecurity and discuss thoughts, compete, and still be best friends at the same time.
Yeah.
So, in that note, how do you view your collaboration, with these other industry leaders, thought leaders, governments, and at the end of the day, right, we're all here to, I won't say catch the bad guys, but not fall victim to the bad guys, right? And so how do you feel that, when you, in this role especially, that you have, that you can help the industry, on behalf of Netwrix come together and how do you think that you contribute as an organization to raising global cybersecurity standards?
Yeah, I love that question. I would say maybe I'll answer it sort of a tactical and then like a bigger picture thing. Tactically, it is a community, and our customers use every one of our competitors, and whether we want them to use all Netwrix or not, it doesn't matter. We've got to meet our customers where they are. So to that end, when our customers ask for integrations, for example, with other products, or connectors into other products, or you'll see it when we launch our workflows here in several months, we will connect and talk to everything in the ecosystem, just out of the box, right? Because we don't get to pick and choose, our customers get to tell us how they want us to integrate. So whether it's sending all of our alerts into a SIEM, or it's pulling data out of SOAR to go actuate it, whether it's us being the brains or us being the hands and the feet, we'll kind of play the role that our customers want us to play in that ecosystem. I think maybe a little more philosophically is I take our role as an important member of the cybersecurity community. I take it very seriously, and that plays into things like CVEs. So we're working toward being our own numbering authority for CVEs. You're familiar. Recently, we announced a few product vulnerabilities and fixes, and no company likes doing that. But we don't even hesitate to do it.
That's a responsible thing to do.
Got to make protect our customers comes first, and so we take that responsibility seriously.
Yeah, I'll just add in, this is very interesting, but I think the integrations are really key. The development behind the scenes that we're doing is really key. There's a really big vendor that we're working with, 200,000 customers worldwide for integration, and Grady's right across it, team's right across it, it's hot.
Yeah, so on that note, Terry, what about industry collab in Asia? How do you look at it?
Yeah, well, we haven't started that yet. It's a great point, Rashawn, but it's something that we're open-minded to do. Grady kicked off a community-based environment too. I love that because I really think the community is a great way to start. There's some fantastic intellect out there when I think of the community. So I think tapping into that first and giving them value will be really important.
Hey, I'll plug that real quick though for anyone who's listening, community.netwrix.com. It's easy to find it out there. And whether you're a partner or an end customer, like we stay on top of it. You ask anything, we're gonna have somebody responding within hours.
I surfed it last week, and I think it's something unique. Not many vendors have that, and I think as the Netwrix portfolio grows, as the branding grows, as people grow, we'll see more feedback, more people participate in the community, and I think it's quite unique in many ways. I would say.
Glad you like it.
So the thing here is that we've heard about Netwrix.
Yeah.
We've heard about your plans to grow. We've heard about Asian plans. We've also, talk about the industry. Before I go on to my last few questions for today, I understand we have a distributor event tomorrow.
Yeah.
In Singapore. You've brought in multiple distributors from Asia together.
Yeah.
What's the plan behind that? Where's the goal? I know we've worked with, we've all been invited by Terry and Michelle and the team. What's the message that we plan to share behind closed doors, of course? That, maybe a sneak peek to anyone listening, or at least, because I think, we have a virtual partner summit coming up in a few weeks' time. We've got this going. A lot of partners listening to today's show, and we're right here in Singapore having our Halodata partner night today with Netwrix. Yeah. What's the big news?
Actually, I'll jump in there. So I think it's really important for the region, right? So this is probably one of the first big events that Netwrix has done for the region. That's a big plus for us. And there's awareness and education with those partners. A lot of the partners won't know everything that Netwrix does. So tomorrow we're not going to go into a big product spiel about all these things, but Grady touched on those families of products, that consolidation. That's really important to make it easier for partners to take out the market. And so it's awareness and education is a really big thing tomorrow. Right. No hidden agendas, there's nothing else there.
I don't mean
but that's really a
hidden agenda. What I mean is, at the end of the day, right, Terry, Grady made a big statement today. We're working with channel partners only. We're working, and now you've got many things lined up for channel partners. What can, without revealing too much, because competitors might listen. But what can partners expect?
No, I'll share something on that too. Okay, so the really big thing is something I mentioned earlier on. A lot of the partners will be very strong in one field only, one field of cybersecurity only. We want to make sure that they are aware that we can do so many other things and there's value for them to take that to their customers. I really think if you look at the history, statistical wins with some of the partners, there's an opportunity for those partners to go, oh wow, I didn't know Netwrix does identity. So plugging that in makes a really good story back to some of those. And we'll share some stories tomorrow too. I think that's really important. Wins we've had around the world that these partners in APJ haven't heard of before. So sharing that.
Well, in fact, the slides I have to share at our event tonight, I just titled Reintroducing Netwrix, because I think it will be a reintroduction. I would encourage any partners who are watching this, if you think you know Netwrix and you think, well, I know what they do, and I would encourage you to take another look, because it's a new set of product capabilities. It's a lot of new leadership in region. Michelle's been amazing. You've worked with her for years. It's good to have Terry on board now. We'll be adding a lot more people here. But I think most importantly is that commitment. Netwrix has been around for nearly 20 years. Never before have we said everything is going to be, all the business goes through partners here in our coming year. That's a big shift for us. So I think it's going to be lucrative for a lot of our partners. And it's, look, we're here to help. We're bringing, as you mentioned, a team over here from the United States. Any partner that I meet on this trip, they'll have my email address and my cell phone number. They can reach out. We're putting them first.
Yeah, and just to reiterate that, all in the company, it's partner first. That's our mentality. So I love it.
So, we've talked everything. Last final question for you, Grady. You've come in. Everybody's, you've traveled, if I was not wrong, 10 cities or 8 cities in a pan-European trip, and met a lot of the team. What's your personal leadership philosophy, and where do you think that Grady's leadership style is going to work and excel in Netwrix? I mean, I've known you 24 hours now.
Feels like so much fun.
Yeah, it feels like that. So I have an idea, but where do you think, what are the values that Grady won't compromise on? And what is the values that Grady says, this is what I'm going to bring to Netwrix, and this is what I want Netwrix to have?
For me, it starts with integrity. That's the number one thing for us. We do what we say we're going to do. We treat our customers well and with respect. I can tell you, I've been here 6 months. We've parted ways with a lot of people that I just didn't feel like were the right fit in this area. After that comes that excellence I talked about earlier, which means, I know it sounds like something everyone wants to be excellent, but what it's about to me is getting in the details. And we've done things from changing the wording on job descriptions to changing the way we do product announcements. And I'll even go in and say, like, look, we need to tweak the verbiage on this, or I didn't like the way we responded to this customer on this post in our community forum, right? I think you have to care a lot about the details of Netwrix. You have to be excellent in everything you do. And then last, I really care about people being experts. Whether you're leading a region for us, like Terry, or you're one of our product managers, or you're somebody on the support team, like I care that you know your stuff a lot. And in this world, I think of AI, everybody can get a personalized tutor to give them weekly. There's no excuse for not being the absolute best in your field for knowing what's happening. So integrity, excellence, and deep expertise.
Yeah, I'll add two more things into Grady's points here. One is respect. I love it. Grady puts that into the team, and it really shines from us out to partners and to customers. So I think that's really important. The second thing, and sponsorship here, Nike, just do it, right?
Yeah.
So we're not talking about a whole lot of things. We just go and do it. I love that.
Yeah, we've done it. Yeah.
So guys, it's been a great podcast today. It's a great session on Halodata, Vendor Hardtalk. Great to have you here in Asia.
Thank you.
Hopefully the first of many. Don't forget us when you get back.
Yeah.
But it's been a great session, and we look forward to supporting Netwrix growth in the region. From Halodata, I can say my team is very excited to work with you guys and bring on the whole solution suite, whether it's 6 or 15, to the channel, to the end users, and we're going to grow the business together. Thank you
Sounds
very much
good.
for your time today.
Thanks, Rashan.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.